Hello my fellow Indonesians and welcome to Day 9 Daily Debrief. Backtrack. This entire week I made it my goal that I was going to talk more in group. I have social anxiety, so I do not do well in groups of people, let alone groups of people, of strangers I don't know. Most of the people in my group are probably between 30 and 60, and then there's me who's 19. They're really nice people. The group turns over, people discharge and enter every day, and it's usually a 10-day program. And so this week, it was going to be my second week here, and I decided that I was finally going to talk in group. However, as you could tell by all of my drawings, that didn't really happen because I would get so anxious of thinking about talking that I just couldn't do it. But then today, we went to the yoga, we did our intake, and I said that my goal was to maybe talk or provide feedback for someone. And then we went to the yoga room, we did meditation in the beginning, and my brain just wasn't having it. I forgot my blocks here at home, so I was using my hair ties, and I was just kind of looping them in and out of each other for an hour while we were in the yoga room. So we just did that for an hour in the yoga room. We did the meditation and I wasn't having it, and there were so many new people today, and I was trying to figure out how many were going to be in my group, how many were going to be in the other group, how old they were, what they were here for, how nice they would be. And then we went into our first group and it was full. It was full to the point that we had to bring in other chairs. And I checked in, instead of just reading off my sheet, I said, I came in today thinking that I was finally going to be able to talk. However, now there are a lot more people in here, and it is making me very anxious. My goal for today was to talk, but I don't know if it's going to happen anymore. So that was my check-in. Then we went to classroom time, and there were so many people around the table, but I was trying to force myself to be completely present, so I wasn't allowing myself to draw, which might be a stupid thing to do, but I can't always draw in class. I need to pay attention. And so I was sitting there. We were doing I don't know what it's called. We were doing dialectical behavioral therapy stuff, ABT stuff. And we were doing the I want, they want ratio and working through situations of relationships and what you need and what the other person needs and such. So an example was a therapist wants people to be on time, be non-judgmental, be authentic from the group members, and the group members want answers, solutions, safety, stuff like that. We got a piece of paper to do that by ourselves over the weekend with a relationship, and we're not supposed to choose the most complicated relationship we have. And then we went to lunch. I ate my yogurt, then I packed up my lunch, put it in my backpack, put my headphones in, and I put my headphones in and then continued to listen to this book, which I need to read for school in the spring. It is a crazy book. I am audiobooking it while reading it at the same time. But during lunch, I had my headphones in and I was just pacing around and around and around and around and around in the empty classroom. That's what I do between groups. We have 10 minutes and I will just pace the halls. I need to get rid of the energy that's inside of me, and I didn't have my blocks and I wasn't drawing, so I just paced and paced and paced and paced and paced. Then we got to the final group of the day. Or not the final group, the second to final group. It was open group. We were there for 45 minutes. People were talking and talking and talking, and then the therapist looked at one person and said, "How are you doing over there?" Because she was a little withdrawn from the group, much like I was, but the therapist doesn't call me out because she knows that I don't do well with that. So she said that she was stuck in her head. She was thinking about how with her depression, she had depression in her teenage years and she fought through it and she thought things were great, and now she's fallen back into it, so she can't figure out what the purpose is, and she's sort of lost on her walk with Christ because she doesn't understand. She thought God cared. So I finally raised my hand, first time this week, and provided feedback. And I was trying to come up with a poem yesterday, and it was called More Than. So I told her that in 2018, I decided I wasn't going to be silent anymore, because this illness is what you make it. You can either wallow in your depression and wonder why it's happening to you and why God doesn't care about you, or, such as I am trying to do this year, you can be an advocate. You can be more than all of your symptoms. You can be more than the diagnoses they give you. You can be who you want to be. You just have to fight. You have to fight to do the things that are difficult to do. You have to fight for what you want to become. This illness isn't going to take you to great places unless you let it take you to great places. It's not going to be, oh, I fought through this and came so far, if you're not actually fighting. I spoke for maybe a minute and a half, and that was the first thing that I had said basically all week long, except for a check-in group. And there were 12 people in the room, and when I finished, I had been talking really fast when I was doing it, because I was just sort of rambling and trying to get all the thoughts out of my head. And then at the end, I said, and now I'm done talking. And I was sort of hyperventilating, because very panicky situation for me to be talking in front of a group of people, and I grabbed my water bottle and I was drinking it, and the 12 people in the room started clapping for me. And so that was very special and very heartwarming. Then we went to the yoga room and we were doing our intake sheets, but the reverse side. And my anxiety had gone up because I had just spoken and I was still freaking out inside my head. And there were still so many people in that yoga room. And I went and I handed him my sheet to my therapist because he was the one that was leading the final group of the day. And he goes, I heard you got applause. But in my head, I heard a pause. And I looked at him and I was like, what? He said, applause. And I was like, oh, yeah. Because whenever I'm around him, I'm very quiet and I'm very shy and I don't talk much. And that's the way it's been for the past 8 days. And today I finally spoke. And so people clapped for me, and that meant a lot because some of them had just met me that day. They don't know my struggle, especially because I haven't told any about it. I haven't told anybody about it. I suppose they can see me. They see me in groups, shaking my leg, fiddling with things, drawing, not speaking, making my goal to speak. But that was my moment for today. I spoke. I didn't speak about myself. I sort of spoke broadly about everybody who's fighting anything. You have to make the fight your own. You can't let the illness win. And it's real difficult to do because there are times where I definitely don't want to get out of bed. And that's the opposite action sort of thing. You force yourself into situations where you know it will be good for you in the end. You might hate it while you're doing it, but that's when you can look back and say, here's how far I've come. And each day, even if you're only making a little bit of progress at a time and you can't see it, when you look back, you're going to see how far you came. There are going to be bumps in the road. Maybe there will be U-turns. Maybe you'll fall down. But you have to keep picking yourself up and you have to keep fighting. You have to be more than whatever you are fighting against. You have to be more than the symptoms. You have to be more than the diagnoses. You have to be more than what people think about you. You have to fight for who you want to be. That's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I have about 5 more days in treatment, so subscribe if you would like to see more dialogues afterwards. I am filming videos every day after therapy, anxiety school as I call it. And this year I will be making videos about chronic illness, chronic pain, things of the like, things that are invisible. I believe my first video is going to be about eosinophilic esophagitis, and then there's going to be one about migraines, gastroparesis, asthma, and leave comments for what you want me to talk about, and I'll try and find someone who I can film a video with. As always, thanks for watching.